Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. This is Toybox, and today we're gonna cover something that I've covered before a while ago. Actually, it was quite a bit ago about a certain someone who was stealing art. That person being Lone Wolf Official, and I wanted to cover a lot of stuff that's happened since, because surprisingly a lot of stuff has happened since that video. More art has come out, more allegations of art theft, and even some stuff that happened in DMs with the person that I worked with, because I did work with someone with this. I worked with Night Sky Wolf on Instagram. I genuinely could not do this alone. I really appreciate all their help for gathering evidence for me, for going and messaging the original artists of these artworks. He helped out a lot. And so, Night Sky, if you're watching this, I can't thank you enough. The help that you gave me really, really is appreciated. And I don't know how I can repay you. I really appreciate it. But with that said, let's get into Lone Wolf Official. So, about a month ago, I made a video about a person named Lone Wolf Official and how they use stolen art. And in that video, I gave quite a few examples of some art that they've stolen. And that video was followed by a lot of positive comments about, like, people saying that, oh, they suspected he had stolen art, or that they knew that he had done it but were too afraid to say anything. But some of the comments on here really stood out, as they weren't so nice to me. Someone in all capital letters said, "Hey, frack you, buddy. Leave my friend alone, you dick, and go suck one too." To which I replied that I would gladly do it again. Yeah, frack you too, buddy. How dare you tell me to go suck a dick? Really, really offended by that. I was even met with people saying that he didn't steal the art, that they knew him personally, that all the art was legit, that none of it was stolen. And to that I said, where's the proof? Because on my side, there is proof that the art is stolen. And in this video, I'm going to cover a lot more of that proof, a lot more examples of stolen art. On Lone Wolf's side, it is just him saying, it's my art, you're harassing me, trust me on this. There's no proof that the art is actually his, that it belongs to him, that it was commissioned, or that he's using free bases. Because that is a mistake that I made before. I will fully own up to that. I will fully own up to the fact that, yes, Lone Wolf does use a few bases, and I will show a few examples of them here, that are free to use. But just because he uses free to use bases does not mean that he is free of the crime that he committed. He still steals art. You can use free bases, and you can still be an art thief. Someone in the comments actually said, he actually has a furry commissioner to make his own art of his persona. What you are saying is false. I've been following him for 3 years and he has never taken any other's art. I find it funny you accuse him of stealing art when in the past he has called out other people for stealing others' art. You are just being a bully for no reason at all. And keep that in mind. I'm going to really emphasize on that he has someone else doing his art, because that will come up later in the video. So please keep that in mind. There have also been a few instances of Lone Wolf deleting messages and deleting a comment on my video. In fact, in our Instagram DMs, while this was happening, when I posted the video, he was making comments saying that I was framing him and harassing him and bullying him. But not that long after he sent those to me, he went back and deleted them. And a comment that he deleted, which I'll put up here, he says, "Really, dude, you're gonna try and frame me?" And he deleted that the same day he posted that on the video, which really is suspicious behavior, and Lone Wolf does not look good on your part. And just to let you know, harassment, the definition. Harassment refers to words or behavior that threatens, intimidates, or demeans a person. Harassment is unwanted, uninvited, and unwelcome and causes nuisance, alarm, or substantial emotional distress without any legitimate purpose. And for me, I do have a legitimate purpose. This is not okay to do. It is not okay to steal art. By calling someone out for doing something horrible like stealing art, that is not harassment. And if I was framing you, framing would be if you were innocent. Let's say you weren't stealing art, but I still went out and said, hey, LoneWolf is stealing art. That would be framing. But you are actively stealing art. So it is not framing. I'm calling you out for your BS behavior. He even made a post on his Instagram story that basically says, go report this for a YouTuber. They're trying to frame me and they are harassing me with the video they put up about me, with a picture of my channel and a big red box around the video. And his followers listened. Some of them actually came and started harassing me, which was not appreciated. I really, really didn't like that, but at the same time, I really couldn't care less nowadays. It happened. The harassment happened. It hasn't happened for a while. It hasn't happened since then, actually. So I really appreciate that. But to say that I'm harassing you and then to send your followers to come and harass me is not okay. It looks really bad on your part is what I'm trying to say. Having people that follow you come and harass me. That is not okay. That is very not okay under any circumstance, really. So I think I've dragged that on long enough. I think I should get into some examples of the stolen art, some of them that I have already covered before. So here is an example of some stolen art. As you can see, it looks very horribly traced over from the original. I do have to censor this for obvious reasons, but just know that it is not safe for work. But the top one being LoneWolf's and the bottom one being the original. And in fact, this is actually a DM that Night Sky sent to the original artist. I don't think they've heard anything back on it. If they have, then I'll put the response here. But as of the recording, there has been no response to this specific DM. But the art is still stolen. You can see the original art versus the stolen art. And it is very, very horribly done. Another example, which I've covered before, is this. This was the first one I posted on the original video, I believe. As you can see, there's a little bit of a difference. The feet color have changed. The eye color has changed as well. And it almost looks like the image is just a little bit brighter. And also something else that I noticed is that the watermark on the stolen image is harder to see, which, again, keep that in mind. I'm going to emphasize that. The watermark is a little bit harder to see on the stolen artwork. I went over this before, like I said, so if you really want to know how I know this was stolen, well, first off, I found the original art, and so did Night Sky. We both found it, and I believe he messaged the creator of the artwork. And I don't remember if there was a response to that one or not. If there is, again, I'll put it up here. If not, then let's just move on. So I did say that there was a instance or a few instances where LoneWolf has used a free base, and here is an example of that. This is a free-to-use base that he used for this artwork. But most free-to-use artworks or free-to-use bases, they don't allow you to erase the watermark or to cover it up or get rid of it completely. They still want credit for the art. Artists don't really want their watermarks deleted, they don't want them covered up, they don't want them erased from the image completely, which on the second image, LoneWolf actually does. He got rid of that watermark. And as you can see in the description down below, there is no credit for the artist. In fact, he credits another person. If you look at the original art, F2U line art by India Indie Animations. So that was really difficult for me to read for some reason. But yet, in the post that he made on Instagram, he credits someone else. He says, art made by one of my best friends at Froster the Arctic Fox. I don't know who this other person is, but I really strongly feel that they did not make the art. Unless they go by that same username, which if they do, and if they're watching this, I beg them to please show proof that their art username is Indie Animations. Really, I'm begging you. But even so, if it is, it's still weird that they would get rid of their own watermark. That is a very, very weird thing to do, their own signature. Very strange thing to do for an artist. They even stole art of a very well-known, not safe for work, furry artist. That is one of the dumbest things an art thief could do. Stealing art is already dumb enough, but to take it from a well-known artist is just incomprehensible to me. And here's some art by Red Rusker. This is the original art. Here's the full image, which again I have to censor for reasons. And then here is the example I showed before next to LoneWolf officials. They are the exact same image, but one is colored in. And I can promise you, these are not free to use bases. These are very much not free to use bases. These are more like teaser images as to what's coming up next, as to, hey, here's the lineup for this, next coming up is the colored image. It's kind of like that. It is not free to use. It is not a base that the public can just use. It is not okay to be doing this. I don't even have to go over the obvious, like, similarities in these, do I? Well, I'm going to anyway, because LoneWolf's probably going to have more of his followers come and harass me after this. So, you have the obvious text that's cut off. That's a start. The obvious text with the kind of blue glow behind it. Next, you have the style of the hair and the ears, and also the eyes. Very, very, very similar. You also have that triangular mark on the muzzle. Again, very familiar. And of course, you have the shirt, which is the exact same. It says smelly bitch on both of them. This is not, again, a free-to-use base. This was not meant to be used by anyone else but Red Rusker, the main artist who is doing this. So to go and steal a really famous furry's artwork, LoneWolf, that was really dumb on your part. His artwork, not LoneWolf's, Red Rusker's art is very recognizable. It has a very, very recognizable style to any furry that knows Red Rusker's art. Or, that, one comic. Or even his main character, Sea Salt. The artwork is very, very recognizable. So to go and take his art, again, LoneWolf, that was a dumbass decision on your part. And some of you might be wondering, well, if the art is stolen, don't you have any proof? Don't you have any more proof? Like maybe you mentioned earlier about messages in DMs with Night Sky and some of these artists. And yeah, I did mention that for a very good reason. I was sent screenshots of DMs that Night Sky sent to me with these original artists. So, remember back on that free-to-use base with Indie Animations? Well, Night Sky messaged the original artist, and it doesn't seem like their @ matches the @ that LoneWolf made. Very suspicious. So, Night Sky says, I know it says F to you, but he's been covering watermarks / lacking credit on tons of artwork. I've been slowly reaching out to several artists to let them know about what's going on. Indie says, thank you, I'll see what I can do, but sadly, it's probably not a lot. Knight says, yeah, just let you know in case you wanted to take any action. I'm sorry this happened to you, and I hope you have a nice day/night. Indy says, thank you, I appreciate it. You too. Does this really need any more explanation? Indy said, basically was saying that if they could take action, they would, but not a lot would be done about it. Meaning that the watermark being covered up was not something that Indy did or allows. Because, again, most artists who make F2U bases do not want their watermark covered up or just gotten rid of completely. That is a very not okay thing to do. There is another example of some art that was stolen that I believe I showed before on my channel. If not, then it was posted on my Instagram story. And you have this piece of artwork, which is very, very well done. And then you have the example that LoneWolf stole, which has some very clear differences. Mainly the color looks really off, and I don't know, the original art, the watermark is covered up. You can't even see the original watermark. That is just such a shitty thing to do, to cover up someone's watermark on the image after you stole it. I can't stress that enough. That is really, really infuriating. It's making me really frustrated. I won't lie. It's making me really, really frustrated. So, Night Sky finds the original artist and then goes to send them a DM. The original artist is Danny Wolfdation, which love that name, by the way. That is so creative and so cute. He says, when confronting him, he stated that he or one of his buddies made the art. So I reverse image searched it and found you. Danny says, thank you for letting me know. Let my manager know immediately. Again, does this need explanation? The art was stolen, so Danny goes and lets his manager know that the art is stolen. If the art wasn't stolen, there would be no need for Danny to go and let their manager know or even say that. It is such BS that on his side, it's just him saying, oh, the art is mine, a friend made it, that's all you need to know. There is no proof that the art is actually his or that it belongs to him at all. There is no proof. And I've even had people say that I'm doing this because he's a bigger YouTuber and I'm just trying to pick on him, or I'm just trying to take him down because I'm jealous that he has more subscribers than me. Which is complete bullshit. I could care less if he had more or less subscribers than me. His subscriber count doesn't even really matter to me at all. What matters is this guy has been stealing art for years and using them in his videos, and this is a very, very not okay thing to do. This shouldn't have been going on for this long, and someone needs to take care of this and needs to out this guy for what he's been doing. Sure, he could have been doing worse. He could have been a pedophile for all I know. He could have been into zoophilia for all I know. But just because he's not any of those as far as I'm aware, doesn't mean that he's still innocent. It doesn't mean that this stuff doesn't deserve to be called out. These artists put their own time and own effort into making these pieces of art, either for themselves or for other people, and then to have someone come along and take that art and say, oh, this is mine, or a friend made it for me, that is so rude and so gross. That is very, very disgusting behavior. Anyway, I digress. I got a bit off track. I got a bit heated there. So let's get back into it. So here's another piece of artwork, and As you can see, again, stolen. The watermark is, again, covered up. He is actively going and covering up watermarks. Like, here's the watermark on this image. And then, where is it on this image? It should be in the same place, right? It should be on that artwork at all. Even if it was a commission, artists will still put a watermark on the commission, so that way the person they are commissioning does not claim it as theirs. So where's the watermark? Where is it? Because I don't see the watermark at all. I see a covered up one, but I do not see the original watermark. The original artist of this goes by Whipped Mint. I'm not sure what social media you can find them on. I'm sure you can find them on Fur Affinity, or possibly even Twitter or Instagram. So Night Sky messages them with the stolen art examples, to which Minty says, hey, wait, what? To the previous message, which is just Night saying that the art was stolen. And then they go on, and this next message, I won't lie, like, when I first read this, it genuinely brought me close to tears. This was heartbreaking to me. This was just devastating to read. I can't. Minty says, wow, I don't know what to say to this. This never happened to me before. Thank you so much for telling me this. And I wish that this had never happened at all. This shouldn't have happened. This should never have been a thing that happened at all. And it's just really heartbreaking to see that this was like their first time having art stolen. That they never in their wildest dreams imagined that this would happen. But unfortunately, it did. It is a reality that their art was stolen when it should never have been stolen in the first place. And it is so heartbreaking to read these messages. These artists really don't appreciate their art being stolen. They're not like, oh, my art was stolen. Oh, that means I'm recognized. That means that they thought my art was great. No. They're not thinking that at all. They're thinking, oh, I put all this hard time and work into this, and someone went and took it and claimed it as theirs. My own artwork that I put effort into. It is so awful to be reading these messages. This never should have happened. This artist shouldn't be having their art stolen. They shouldn't have had to been called out for this. This artist should never have been shown this example. This example shouldn't have even existed, but it does because LoneWolf likes to go and steal art. So if these DMs aren't proof enough, and if the covered up watermarks aren't enough, and if the clear art theft isn't enough, well, guess what? Later on, LoneWolf straight up admits to covering up watermarks. That is right. To the followers of him who are watching this, and who still don't believe me, LoneWolf himself admits to covering up watermarks. I can't make this up. He admits to it. And if he wants to go and delete these messages after this video comes out, then he can feel free because, first off, we already have the screenshots, and second, if he deleted it, it wouldn't make sense because then it would look like somebody talking to themselves in a very strange, unnatural way, where there should be other responses, they're just responding to nothing, which looks very strange. So, speaking of LoneWolf, Knight actually sent me some DMs that he had with LoneWolf. And I don't even know where to start with this. Actually, no, I do know where to start. Let's start with one that really really struck me as really, really creepy. So I'll share this DM that I had with Night Sky. He says, but I can also send screenshots of him making perverted comments at me a while ago and my OC, even after I expressed that I'm taken, RPing or roleplaying, at me. And I said, I don't know how to reply to it. And he legit said, you don't need to, just enjoy it. Just stuff like that can be added, and a warning to other followers / commenters. So this is a warning that if you are actively talking to LoneWolf or if he is commenting, be very careful, because he might start role-playing with you sexually out of the blue. And one thing that also struck me, like just at this minute right now, is that I'm pretty sure that LoneWolf didn't even ask Night Sky's age beforehand. If he did, okay, I take responsibility that what I said was a bit harsh, a bit too far there. But if he didn't, then that is really, really, really bad. If you're going to sexually roleplay with anyone, it's really good to know the age beforehand. And if you can, if they're okay with it, ask for ID, ask for proof that they are who they say they are. Because anyone can go online and say, oh yeah, I'm 18, I'm 21, but they could still be a minor. It's very easy to fake your age online. So in this DM, I'll read it to you, and this is really, I'm gonna really hate this. LoneWolf says, you want something else? Knight says, I don't know, lol. What about this? Licks and eats out your tail hole. And for those that don't know what a tail hole is, it's your asshole. Your tail hole is your asshole. Knight says, I don't know how to respond to that, sorry. It's okay, you don't need to. Just enjoy it. Again, this was after Knight expressed that he was taken. He's not polyamorous, he is monogamous. And even if he wasn't taken, this is still a not okay thing to do. It is not okay to just spring on a roleplay like that. If you're going to roleplay with someone, you need consent from both parties. From yourself and from the other person. It can't just be, oh, I consent to it, and so I'm going to do it. That is not how roleplay works. That is not how consent works. If someone does not want to roleplay, then you cannot and should not be forcing that on them. That is a very, very not okay thing to do. And even in Night Sky's words, it came off as a little rapey. Which I have to agree with. It does come off that way. And that's not okay. It shouldn't. Knight also told me that LoneWolf, I'm just gonna read it straight up. He says, yeah, what's funny is I even offered to make him free art that's not stolen, talking about LoneWolf. I said, bruh, I was honestly not expecting someone else to know about him, but you and one other person do. He says, yeah, bro appeared, simped for my hyena, and said he loved me without even knowing me for a month. Then he said he'd die when I said no. Supposedly he's 24, which I refuse to believe. He sounds like he's 15 mentally. Which he absolutely does. And he didn't threaten death on me, but he did do something similar to me. Me and LoneWolf dated, I'm gonna use very heavy air quotes there, after not even knowing each other for a full month. And I told LoneWolf, hey, I don't feel a connection. I'm gonna break this off, and just to let you know, when I am ready, I might not come back to you. Which, it's harsh to say, I know. But I didn't want to leave him in the dark with that. I didn't want to leave him in the dark thinking that, oh, he'll come back to me, when the chances are I probably wouldn't be going back to him. And at first it started with him asking me when I would be ready, to which I said, I'll be ready on my own time. You can't control that. To which he was saying, oh, maybe something like, oh, maybe if I do this, then maybe You'll want me back faster. To which I said, no, again, when I'm ready, it'll be on my own time. And from there, it spiraled. And while I don't have proof of these because I was an idiot and didn't take screenshots, I did take one screenshot, but that was a picture that he sent later on of his persona crying to kind of like guilt trip me, because he really expected me to see that image and be like, oh, I feel so bad for him. Oh, I take such pity on him. I need to get back with him. He's so sad. It didn't work out, obviously. But he was saying stuff like, maybe since I can't find love, I'll just turn to drugs and alcohol since that's all I can do. And I sent him the suicide hotline because I legit thought that he was going to threaten that, and I thought that he was thinking about wanting to die. So I sent him that, and he said, I'm not feeling suicidal. He says that, but I still sent it anyway just in case it's the right thing to do. And he was just getting so nasty with me. And that line that really stuck out, the drugs and alcohol, because you can't find love, that is how to not deal with a breakup in a healthy way. Another way is back to Night Sky, when he said he'd die if Night said no. Again, by this time, Night was taken. He was taken. He is not one to cheat. He is not polyamorous. He is monogamous and has been with his partner for a long time now. So for LoneWolf to go and say that he would die if Night said no, that is a very, very manipulative thing to do. That is a very, very not okay thing to do. If you're going to act like that over a breakup, maybe you shouldn't be rushing into relationships like that, and maybe you should take your time with it and focus and reflect on your behavior. Consider, oh, maybe saying this is pushing people away. It's not a good thing to say. Maybe realize that.